guys, Mike here from TA Outdoors. Thanks very much for clicking on this video. You join me here in the woods on a lovely late spring, early summer day. Weather's really fantastic. It's about 17 degrees, 16 degrees. I brought with me some of my gear. I've got a small shelter that I'm going to set up. I'm going to cook up some food, and I'm also going to forage for some tinder and perhaps some wild edibles. I found a lovely clearing here with some nice conifer trees behind me. There's also some silver birch trees over to my left, which is nice because then there's a mixture of deciduous trees and coniferous trees, and it's spread this lovely dappled lighting all over the forest floor, which is really pretty. Before I set the shelter up, a lot of you have asked about my day pack and what it is. I've been using it for quite a while now. This is the Yakari S, it's called, from Finn Savota. They've actually sent me this pack. Got to be nice and open with you guys. They've sent me this pack to use and abuse in my videos, and so far so good. I'm really enjoying using it. It's a nice little size. I'll go into a bit more detail later perhaps on it, but there's more information in the video description below. What I've done is if you guys remember the canvas shelter, my canvas poncho or double canvas poncho that I put up as a tent, that's pretty much what I use a lot on my YouTube channel, and it seems to have been really popular since I've been using it. What I've done is I've now unbuttoned one half, and I've just brought one half with me because I'm not doing an overnighter. I've just brought half the shelter with me so that I can set it up and I get a bit more vision out and to look out into the woodlands and enjoy the surrounding nature. So I just attached it to the bottom of my bag as I do normally, and just loosen the straps. And because I've only got half the shelter, it's nice and small. And that's it. As usual, got my paracord quick release loop there, and then a nice easy slip knot, so I keep this in my pocket. Still got that little ground sheet in there as well. Knife I brought with me today is my Virtus Utilis, which I haven't used in quite a while. Made for me by my buddy Sam. He's from Virtus Knives. He makes these. I'll put a link in the description. Stunning knife this, probably one of my favourite, with the mosaic pins, spalted maple scales, some incredible file work. Needs a bit of a clean up actually. I need to sharpen it probably as well. Fits really well in the hand, fairly beefy. Nice black liners. She's a lovely one. This one comes with the Kydex sheath. Making some stakes for the shelter from some birch twigs. So peaceful. Nice and simple. They're small enough to go through the rivets of the shelter. They don't need to be anything special. I do have paracord loops on these as well, which I sometimes use. In fact, I might use these today. Actually no, I'll just use the rivet itself today, so I want this pinned to the ground. I'm not pushing them in really deep because I'm going to have to adjust the tent anyway. Just going to bevel the end a bit because it's quite a thin stick. I don't really want it punching. It won't punch through the canvas, but it will put stress on it. Rounding off the edges, there's mosquitoes coming around now, which is right on the edge of mosquito season is about to start. Get off. Loads of them about here. So that's half the levee. Sort of a half crescent moon shape. It means that this ground sheet, which is half of my full setup, should fit in there quite well. That's the half levee setup. And actually there's ample room in there, loads of space. But it's a great little setup. Brought with me the old folding firebox stove today. Yeah, it's easily, I'd say, maybe 6 months, 8 months since I've used this. Use it down on the sea a lot on my coastal trips, hence why it's rusted quite a bit, but it seems to do the job okay. Heavy stove, but good quality, good build quality, so I don't mind the sacrifice. It's just literally a box, metal box that folds flat. The ashtray, and then that folds down, keep the shape. It's got loads of air holes, it's got a vent there to shut and close if you want to allow more airflow in there. And then these pegs can slot in at any different angle, even like there's loads of slots to put these pegs down here. You can put them like that if you want to get your pot or your billy can closer to the flames or the ember, or you can just rest them on the top here. There's slots for them up the top here, so you can keep it, you know, up high and get lots of twigs and sticks in there. It's very versatile, good piece of kit. The reason I'm using the firebox today is because we're well into spring now. The forest floor is very dry. There's lots of pine needles on the floor, there's lots of dry grass around. I'd rather not risk having a fire in this particular area anyway that I'm in. It's just not worth it, having a fire directly on the forest floor. Even if I clear it, you know, there's still that risk with the wind around that it will blow sparks onto drier tinder-like material. So this is the backup, flat packed, nice and easy to carry, and keeps my fire contained and keeps it off the forest floor, keeps the heat and the sparks and ash off the forest floor. So I need to collect some sticks and twigs and then get her going. Little tip, probably the most basic of camping tips, when you're, is that focused? When you're collecting sticks for a fire or twigs, make sure it has a clean snap. I want to show you an example. So for example, that's not a clean snap, it's still clinging on. I'm having to twist it to pull it off. That's fairly green, that stick. So it will still burn, it would just be much harder for when you're starting out lighting a fire. This, however, breaks clean in half very easily. That's the really good stuff. That's definitely dry, it's dead. This, again, it breaks, but it hangs together. Not good. It does break eventually, but it's just green. This, with this birch, it's just, yeah, see, just hangs on. You can generally tell by the colour with birch as well, so let me show you. So this colour is fairly purpley, if you can see that. If you can see that, that's kind of like a purple. This here, look at the colour difference. Actually, let me just hold one up so you can see. Right, there's the colour difference. This is with silver birch. This one here on your right, my left, that's still fairly green. It's got that purpley bark to it, kind of dark purple, deep purple. And this is almost white. It's like really, really grey white. That's still fairly green. Break it, still clings together. Still going to burn again, but just not great for fire lighting. This, clean break. Just a tip with silver birch. As you can see here, most of this is all grey stuff, darker grey. Camping tip. Let's get some more. But here's a good example as well. Very nice and grey, this lot. Not going to break very clean. Still hangs on and should break. That's quite a thick one, but this one should break there nice and clean. Starting out with really pencil thin ones first. Like this stuff. This will burn really well. Thin stuff, matchstick thin. Let's get a pile going just here. Keep it all together so I can see where it's going to be. These long sticks I'll just chuck down there, process them up later. Pine is also really great for fire starting. Anything with the needles on still, that's too green. I'm not going to burn that. But through here, if you look, no needles on this one whatsoever. Again, it should break clean. There you go. All of this should snap off because there's no needles growing on it. It's off the ground, everything's nice and dry. And there's loads of it. This is full of resin, the pine ones, so this is great to get the firebox going, and the birch ones I'll put on later to build up the heat. That should be enough. I want them about, not even that length, but that length really. Keep them all together. That's a better break. If you can see this, the green grass is already starting to grow through, which means finding natural kind of tinder material is going to be fairly difficult. But there is still dead grass here. It's just really starting to disappear in amongst the green grass, and in about probably 2 weeks this will all be a bed of green grass, and it will probably be full of ticks and insects. I can see the spiders already down here, but they're not too bad. It's more the ticks that would be annoying. And there's also what we get, it's called harvest mites, and Jax has had them on his fur. The dogs can get them on their fur, and it's almost like paprika. They're like orange, tiny orange specks, these harvest mites, but they are very, very irritating for dogs. I think they can go on humans, I'm not too sure. They're in the green grass, but they just, like ticks, they feel the warm mammal, the warm fur go past. They hop onto that, onto the warm host, and they just feed there. And it's, honestly, Jax hated it. It happened to him last year, and we had to take him to the vets to get a special scalpel scraper to kind of scrape them off. They're horrible things. They're almost worse than ticks because it irritates the dog so much. He absolutely hated it. So this is going to be a fairly slow process, but that's the dried grass, and obviously you can see here that's the green grass. So this is last year's grass. Like I say, in about 2 weeks' time, if I start collecting here, it's going to be Tick City. And I know you guys across the pond get the ticks pretty bad as well. The old tinder bag, which is very low. I need to fill this up. So as well as my tinder bag, which I would normally keep dried grass, tinder bundles, cramble fungus, things like that, and my tin of char cloth, a bearing block that was made for me by a subscriber. I think his name is Phil. Sycamore, I think it is, bearing block for a bowdrill. That's the tinder bag, but my actual fire lighting pouch is this thing here, and in this I keep my flint and steel and lighter. Always carry a lighter for backup, and then another flint striker, the one I forged with Alec. And in here, I showed this before, some limpet shells for the bearing blocks as well. They're really tough, and my pieces of flint. I keep them in this Hessian sack to stop them dinging around loads in my bag. It keeps them all in place. If shards fall off, it just falls off in this bag. That looks like quite a nice piece, nice jagged edges. We obviously are going to use Alex Epic Striker. Need some char cloth. Need to make some soon again actually as well. The only thing with char cloth tins, once they expand with the heat, they get a bit tight to open, and you need a bit. Put everything away, get organised. It took me about 15 minutes to collect all this because it was just really difficult to harvest. So if this fails, which it quite possibly could do, I'm going to have to spend another 15 minutes getting a tinder bundle. So I could just use the tinder bundle like that, but it's a little bit bulky to get in my firebox itself. So I just scrumple it into a ball, just personally how I do it. And just keep, like you do with a piece of paper, and you just scrunch up a piece of paper. It's just personal preference again, not loads, just like that. And there we go. Breaks the fibres up, opens them out, fluffs them up. Then I loosen it a bit just to allow air gaps and oxygen to get through. That, making my nest. That's one damn good bird's nest. Bird would be chuffed if you found that. Got my small twigs, can you see that? Yeah, I've got small twigs there, bigger twigs there. We're good to go. Flint and steel. We have an ember. Into the bird's nest she goes. Bird's nest goes in, twigs go in. This is fairly damp actually, this area around the box, which is quite handy. Quite handy indeed. Good time to put all the flint and stuff away. So now that the frying pan's on, obviously I just feed stick through this gap, and that just maintains the flames. This is tasty. Just some chopped pepper, some onion, some sausage, and I put a sprig of rosemary on afterwards, just very briefly, just to give it the overall dish a bit of flavour. Loads of headroom in this shelter. I'm sat under it now. I'm not sure how it would fare if there was horizontal rainfall, but again, I just change it depending on the wind direction. You could just change the angle. Really love this shelter though. Since growing the beard a bit, I didn't realise how long it takes to dry after I shower, and how much crud gets in it. Just bits of rubbish just around the place in the forest, little things that are flying, and seeds and things like that. Water, even something as simple as drinking water, it gets soaked. We're learning on the beard game. It's new to me. I haven't grown it out this long before. What do you guys think? It still doesn't quite connect up near the hairline. Bit of a shame, but there's not much I can do about it. I'm definitely going to grow it out though. Let me know your opinions. Some people hate beards. My wife Emmy's not really a fan, if I'm honest, but I just want to grow it out. Beard life. I have to admit, I see why people do this all the time now though. Interesting. It is becoming habitual, stroking the beard. Jax loves it, because he thinks I'm another dog. He absolutely loves it. He licks it all the time and just muzzles up to it. Yeah, sod it, I'm going to grow it, who cares. Interestingly, since I've done the Levu, the Polish Levu videos, these camping poncho tent videos, I've had a lot of, obviously there's been loads of interest online of them and where you can get them. I got mine on eBay over a year ago now, I think, and just be wary, because I've been back on eBay to look, because so many people have been asking me saying they're really expensive. If you're paying more than 70 quid for this, you're getting ripped off, guys, because they are not that much. Be aware, people, that you can find them cheaper, not just online. And I know it's bulky and it weighs a lot, and you know, it's not convenient for lightweight backpacking, but I really couldn't care, because I'm almost going more traditional. I feel like I want to go more traditional with my camping gear. You know, personally I like the vintage gear and the old school gear. It has that nice aesthetic appeal to it. I do appreciate the practicality of modern day gear though, obviously, especially for longer distance trips. But this sort of thing here, where it's just a one-man tent or a two-man tent, I don't mind carrying the extra kilo or 2 kilos. I don't mind that, you know, for the sake of comfort, because I'm loving this campus tent. Even on a hot day like today, it's not hot under here, and it's not hot when I seal it up, but it keeps you warm. That's what canvas does. It keeps you cool when it's hot, and it keeps you warm when it's cold. It's really good for that, those materials, whereas the standard kind of tent material can get so hot in the sun when you get in your tent. Absolutely roasting. Canvas just keeps it, because it's thick, Just keeps an even temperature. Doesn't fluctuate much. But I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And I've still got my hanging points where I can hang my little candle lanterns and things. But I'm really chuffed with this, the half setup. An awesome, awesome tent, and proving hugely popular now since I've been doing the videos. It's great to see on Instagram there's people tagging me all the time in their Polish lavus, so great to see that. I mentioned earlier that my tinder pouch is empty of tinder. You can see it's pretty much flat. So I'm going to use this opportunity while the dead grass is still here to harvest up some tinder bundles of dried grass and to store them in here, so that when it comes to like a rainy day or the material on the forest floor is really damp, I'll always have something dry to get a fire going if I want to be doing it more bushcrafty style. You can see there's dried grass around here, but the green stuff's coming through. What I've found is that it seems to grow, the dead grass is obviously at the moment more abundant in the shade. Where there's more sunlight, the greener grass is growing through, which is not going to work as a tinder bundle. I mean, it can, you can pick it green and then just store it and let it die off, keep it in the shade, let it die off and dry off, but while it's here, I might as well just be harvesting this dry stuff. So be aware this time of year of ticks and things. Spiders, you could wear gloves if you want to. I don't really care, don't mind. And there we go, loosen the fibres. That's one bundle, now I'll probably get 3 or 4. Another bundle. So I've got 1, 2, 3 tinder bundles, very dry anyway. It's going to be quite hard to fit them in the pouch, so I'm going to have to crush them up. Sometimes I do this over the winter months, it's just collect a load of grass, preferably when it's dry. If it's not, I'll dry it out and literally collect a sack of it and store it in my shed and just dry it out that way. And it's just a good way of, you know, getting things prepared. So I need to crush them up as small as I can. There you go. Can still fit more in there if I wanted to, but not yet. Tinder pouch updated. So we're going to do a bit more tinder hunting and foraging. And I showed you guys this before. It's the dump pouch that was made for me by my friend Brian. He's a kind of leather worker and canvas worker, things like that, crafting. He's very good at it. And it just goes onto your belt. So allow me, ladies. Slide it on. Pull the belt through. Around here, put my knife back on. And there we go. So the dump pouch is on now, it's just here. When it's not in use, I can just keep it folded up, but now when I want to go foraging for tinder and wild edibles and things, I just pop the catch, fold it out. It folds out nice and wide. Open the toggle. And now I have a nice big pouch to forage with. So this birch tree is completely rotten out. There's the stump, what's left of it. But the bark, as you can see here, is really white, which means it's still got plenty of resin in it. And it's still fairly solid, so I should be able to peel this bark away quite easily. There's a little bit there. I like to just score it like that with the knife, just gently break that cambium layer, score it around like that, then score it across the top so I've sort of squared it off. Then round here, hopefully you can see that, can you see that? Then I like to, where I've scored across the horizontal cut there, just gently with obviously my fingers behind the blade, watch this thumb, just slice along there. You can see it peeling up. That's ready to peel, but I like to guide it with the knife a bit each time, just so that it doesn't rip off too quickly. At this point you can just peel it and you get the nice resinous part there at the end. Looks like there's a birch polypore, or knife razor's drop fungus, whatever you want to call it. Just here, very rotten though. Very rotten. This has been down a while. Normally you'd be able that would be completely white, and you can actually strop your knife on it. But sadly, this one is well and truly gone. This is very rotten. This branch. Might be able to get some bark off it though. Let's have a look. Oh, nice look. It's a nice peel, that one. There's a good bit of bark. Then I could peel that into thinner strips if I wished. Like that, or just store it as it is for now in the old dump pouch. Once you've found a source of birch bark, especially when it's dead like this, it's a great time to harvest it. This stuff's peeling off really well. Look at that. So that one stick harvested all that birch bark from and there's still quite a bit on it, you can see. So that's just really handy. And what I do is try and eventually I'll roll this up into a ball, but because the dump pouch I've got is fairly big, I can probably fold it. It will naturally want to roll anyway because of the curvature of the stick. So there you go. Off to the tinder bag. So now I've got to fit the birch bark in the bag. There's plenty of it. I mean, really I don't need this much dried grass, so I may take one out. In fact, I think I will take one out and roll this lot up. I do always keep an elastic band in my tinder bag as well, just to keep the birch bark completely wrapped up, it doesn't ping out then. And now that's a pretty good tinder bag. I can harvest a few more bits and then I'm pretty much set for, that will last me quite a few firelighting sessions. Firebox is out, but I'm going to use that for if I get a flame or an ember, I'm going to use it for that. bowdrill success again. Mind you, everything's nice and dry. I had loads of dry tinder. I was using that as an ember pan, which is the bit of birch bark I just collected. Because I tossed the ember into the grass, I now get to keep my birch bark for fire lighting another time. Success. You know, mozzies are out in force. Just got bitten on the ear. I showed you guys my notebook in my leather notebook in a previous, poncho tent video. I've since ran out of pages on that notebook, and I actually was in Edinburgh, the city of Edinburgh, the Scottish city of Edinburgh, with my wife Emmy a couple of weeks ago, actually, just for a nice relaxing holiday, city break. Really, really nice city, very old. We were in the old town, and the market was up, and there was a leather maker there, and he made some incredible leather gifts, like messenger bags, like haversacks, notebooks, just everything. And I bartered him down on this. I was having a good chat with him, and he makes them all by hand. I've just put the elastic band on and the pencil on just to keep it there. But for the moment, let me just show you this notebook, because it's really nice. It's really well made. And it's actually a bit more distressed leather, and it's kind of rough around the edges. It's not burnished, and I quite like that rawness to it. Nice clasp here. Stitchings on the back there. Like I say, it's not perfect by no means, but I quite like that about this. It's much more realistic in that sense. Only small, nice sort of pocket size, fairly thick, lots of pages, and the clasp just opens like that, slides down, and this is the notebook itself. You can see the actual kind of more of the hide of the animal, where it's left with that distressedness to it. Even the I got bitten again. Ow! Even the pages themselves are not perfectly immaculate. They've got sort of markings. They're a bit dirty, and I quite like that. Obviously, there's a limited number of pages in this one, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this more for my wild edibles and wild plants as such, more than a journal. So more of a plant ID and things, because it's nice and small. I can take it with me. I mean, I might use it as a journal. The last one I used the back pages as a journal. This is nice, good quality, thick paper as well. But yeah, the last one I used back pages as a journal, and that seemed to work quite well. And the front pages were more illustrations and ID and things like that. But I'm not sure what. I think I'll use this as more of an ID one. I don't know how many pages are in there. But yeah, anyway, like I say, it's quite simply made, but I love it. I love the clasp on the front like that. Lovely brass sort of clasp. Sits in like that. And it fits perfectly in the old cargo pouch of the trousers like that, which is one of the reasons I went for the smaller version. He does bigger ones. Just sits perfectly like that, so I can just take it with me, walk around. I've always got it on me. And if I find something I'd like to ID, or perhaps something new that I've not seen, I can draw it in here and research it later. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time now, maybe writing in here, and just enjoying the woods and the lavoo. So sadly it is that time where I need to start thinking about packing up. This is nice and easy to put away, this stove. Flat plate just sits there, and then these feet, which I didn't use in the end because I was using the frying pan, they just slot in there, two there, and I tend to put two on the outside, so everything's nice and flat. It's got a little canvas pack carry case here just to keep the dirt contained, really, and then that goes in the Cordura case here. I mean, it is heavy, but it does flat pack nice and sort of small. So this is the Yukari S, the bag I've been using lately, the small day pack. 20 litre pack, but with the addition of two 2-litre side pouches, which the MPP side pouches, which I've got. These can obviously, they're Molle webbed on the Molle webbing, so they can come off and it can be even smaller. But the great thing about this is obviously it's got the bottom strap there where I put the tent in, but it's also got quite a unique, very simple design. It's a very simple design. They've gone kind of back to basics with this. Really easy carry loop up here, Molle webbing all over it, Velcro for your, or hook and loop for your patches. Got the old TA Outdoors patch there. On the inside it's got this like hard lip here, which you pinch close like that, and it can fold on itself to make it a really small pack like that. Or obviously if you end up filling gear, which I do up to this sort of level, it still pinches shut, it just folds up to about there. So it's kind of an expandable day pack. So if I do it up just like that, so if that was super full, that's where the lid would come up to. So it's good. The Savota guys have got it sorted with the way they've designed their packs and the expandableness of one pack. On the inside top lip here, there's a zip, which I keep my trauma kit in. There's ready bandage, head torch, and also the notebook that I just showed you. This is what's cool as well, actually. If you can see this, on the inside here, this is great. There's a place for a water bladder, as like some backpacks, a place for the water bladder there, elasticated, and you can have it either come out this side or this side down here, I think, yeah, down there, so you can choose whether you want your tube coming out of the front or the back. But as well, and this is additional I think, is the mat. And what this is just a hard, you can actually use this as a mouse pad. It's like a mouse pad, but it's got a nice waterproof, kind of water resistant material here. It's the MPP foam mat, this, and then a nice hard Cordura top to it. And it's just a great kneeling mat. I haven't used it today because I often forget that it's in the bag. But it's just a great way to kneel, do your bits, light your fires. On wet days, it's dry today, so it's okay. And then you don't get your knees wet, and it takes up zero space, but it also keeps the rigidity of your backpack. It stops it flopping over, which I think is great because you get a lot of metal frame backpacks, and the guys here do a metal frame pack, but it's just nice to be able to have something that is so simple yet so effective. And it just slides in, that slides in there. Main pouch, sorry, it's just a dump pouch, just a nice big bucket lid, which I quite like. It's a bit messy at the moment, but I'll sort all that out. And yeah, there's loads of space in here. I quite like the bucket pouchness to this pack. And the side pouches, this one I keep my cooking gear, coffee, I take that out, some tea that a subscriber gave me. Also got Molle webbing on the inside here where I keep my sporks, my spoons. There's a little pouch in there as well down there. Spice kits, things like that. That all fits. And these can actually take, I think they're 2 litres, but when you compress things in there, they can take a fair amount of kit, which is great. Spice there, some tea bags, priorities, the old Opinel number 8, that goes in there as well. And that's one side pouch, that's what I keep in there. On the other side, I keep my tools. Done with the dump pouch now, so I can just slide this down. Fold it in. Obviously I could do this on my waist if I wanted to, but I'm completely done with it. Roll it in on itself like that. And that is, I love this dump pouch, it's really handy, there it is. And that goes in the main pocket. In this side pouch here, I keep my cutting tools, so my folding saw, knife strop, wood carving knife, spoon knife, and my actual hip knife, and also some cordage in there as well. That's like my cutting pouch, which I access fairly regularly, so I like to have it on the side. So I'm all packed up, I'm good to go. It's been I know it's been a short little day trip, or a shorter video for you guys. I've actually spent quite a bit of time here just not filming and enjoying it. It's lovely and peaceful, it's a beautiful day. Just want to say thanks so much for watching, and also if you're subscribed, really appreciate it. If you haven't ticked the little bell notification, make sure you do. There's lots of good stuff coming up on the channel. I appreciate that sometimes the videos might get repetitive and you might get, for example, a few of the pallet wood cabin videos back to back, or sometimes you might get a few bushcraft videos back to back, and then maybe not that many fishing ones. You know, that's just the way it goes on the channel, I'm afraid. Sometimes in order to do, I know quite a few of you want me to do the bigger trips, the longer multiple day trips, and just going further afield. That takes a lot of planning. I don't just run this channel, I also run the TA Fishing Dad's channel, TA Fishing, and do all the editing and all the social media for that as well. So I'm doing, you know, 3 or 4 videos a week, editing, you know, filming, editing, doing all the social media. It's really hard going. So for me to do those long, big distance trips, it is actually quite difficult. You know, I've got a family as well. I need to spend time with my family. That's my main priority. So, you know, just bear with me, guys. Mozzie. Bear with me. I know that some of the videos are short and they're not always trip videos, they're not always bushcraft. Sometimes I have to do what's convenient for me in order to be able to bring you better content down the line. So that's what I'm saying, is just be patient. There are times where, or weeks where there'll just be a fairly repetitive video, but just be patient, because things like this summer I've got planned. I've obviously got the Bushcraft show next weekend. I've got another coastal trip coming up, multiple day coastal trip. With catch and cooks, foraging, everything like that. I've got 2 trips booked already this summer to the Lake District National Park, where I'll be doing multiple day camping trips up there. I've also got a big trip, which I'm not going to say about just yet, more towards the end of this year, or the back end of summer. So that, you know, and that's an international one. There's a lot planned. You just need to bear with me and be a bit more patient, guys. I appreciate sometimes it can get boring. Hopefully I try to not make the videos boring, but I appreciate that they can get repetitive, so just bear with me. And if you enjoyed videos like this, the odd day trip, these are easier for me to film, obviously, so I can come and film these quite easily. Let us know if you'd like to see some more day trips. I would bring Jax along with me, but sadly he's not coming to the Bushcraft show now as well next weekend. Looking forward to meeting some of you guys there. I know quite a lot of you are going. Jax, my dog, he's not coming, because you'll all be gutted now. You'll be like, I want a refund. I didn't want to see Mike, I wanted to see Jax. But yeah, he's had a gum infection thing recently, which has really thrown a spanner in the works, in that sense that he's already gone through a hell of a lot as a puppy. He's not even 2 years old yet. He's coming up 2, and he's already had one major operation at about 10 or 12 weeks old, where he swallowed a conker, which is the horse chestnut tree over here. They're poisonous for dogs, and he swallowed a whole one. They're poisonous when they crunch them up in small bites. He swallowed a whole one, and because he was so small, he was only about this big, it went down into his small intestine, couldn't get into his large intestine, and blocked him up, and he was very ill, and very ill. We nearly lost him, and they had to operate immediately when I took him to the vets. They immediately operated. It was a stomach operation, a gut operation, which is very dangerous in that sense that dogs can get well, humans as well, you get what's called gut breakdown, where they're operating, where it's the gut can break down and be infected as easy infection, because it's just an area of the body when they operate which is a high risk area. But thankfully, because he was young, he can heal quite quickly. Thankfully, fingers crossed, he's healed, and he has got a big scar on his belly where they cut him open. But so this next thing, he's now got the gum infection, or gum tooth rot. I can't remember what it specifically was now, but he's in the vets now. That's why I've come out today, just to keep my head screwed on, because he's been under general anaesthetic, and I'm lost without him, really. So I've come out here today to keep my mind occupied. If I was at home, I'd miss him quite a lot. He's around me all the time when I'm editing, so just by coming outside here, I can kind of escape from it. And yeah, hopefully I'll pick him up later and he'll be okay, but he won't be coming to the Bushcraft show because he needs to recover from that. So that also means my wife Emmy won't be coming because she'll be looking after him. So apologies for that, guys, but I will still be going, and that's next weekend, 26th to 28th of May. Tickets are still available. I'll put more info in the show more section below. But yeah, loads of trips planned, loads of stuff planned for the channel. We've still got Shed Sundays coming. There's a lot of good stuff. I appreciate you sticking by for those subscribers that don't get bored of the videos and are not so demanding as to trying to choose what content I put up. I appreciate you guys. Thanks very much for supporting me, and I'll catch you soon in the next video.